our next speaker, Mr. Salil Agrawal. It is an honor to introduce Sir. He is a seasoned professional with over 38 years of diverse experience across industry and consulting in leadership roles with huge responsibilities. With a blend of technical and management expertise gained in India and abroad, he has collaborated with C-suite executives across industries, driving business growth through innovative strategies. A pioneer in business process outsourcing, Mr. Agrawal has a rich consulting background, excelling in post-merger integration, operational due diligence, and performance improvement. He is an accomplished trainer, thought leader, and academic contributor. We welcome you, sir. Over to you. Sir, but we need it for the live stream.
Oh, okay. Good evening, everyone. Bored of sitting in the room all day? आपकी तो शक्ल से ही लग रहा है. Seriously bored. आगे आ जाओ. ठीक हो जाओगे. Sorry, मैं थोड़ी बहुत तो हरकत करनी पड़ती है ना. और कोई बोर हो रहा हो ज़्यादा तो आगे आ जाओ. वैसे बोर होगे नहीं इसके बाद. क्या नाम है? ठीक है. कितने लोगों को नाम समझ में आ गया? क्या नाम है? क्या नाम है? या यू एट द बैक. इसका नाम यू डोंट नो ना. सो नाम ऐसे बोलना चाहिए कि सबको पता लग जाए. एक मौका मिलता है लाइफ में. करेक्ट? एक मौका मिलता है. And if you don't say your name properly, you're going to miss that opportunity. Anyway, what do you guys want to hear? ये तो topic है. इसकी तो बात कर ही लेंगे. I've got more time to spend with you tomorrow also. So tell me, what do you want to listen to? Thank you. Okay, चलो मैं तो वही करने आया था. और tell me. Okay. So can we remind me of this question tomorrow morning? Yeah, I'll not cover this today, but I will address that question tomorrow. Okay. Anybody else? Yeah? Yeah. What are your expectations? What are you hoping to listen? तो अगर मैं एक लाइन में बोलूं कि आप लोगों को एमबीए नहीं करना चाहिए, फिर क्या करोगे? See, the problem is standing here, it's very difficult for me to say that. You're all aspirants for an MBA. If I now start saying कि MBA मत करो, तो तुम लोग मुझे मार के बाहर निकाल दोगे. So that conversation we can have individually, outside, later, whenever I'm around, right? But seriously, think about whether you want to really spend a huge amount of doing an MBA, especially people who have family businesses, right? What I will try and cover for you, and if not today, please remind me tomorrow, is what is it that you're going to get by doing an MBA? So then you will be in a position to at least make up your own mind, is that worth it? And why is it worth it? Okay? Does that? No, sorry, you said something which I couldn't capture.
So I said you might provide us with
more insights on what?
about MBA, what life.
Okay, okay.
The changing scenario
देखा जोश आ गया ना. नहीं नहीं नहीं, बैठ के बोलो, लेकिन बोर नहीं हो रहे अब.
The changing scenario in MBA, like more of the programs like Master Union have been enrolling, and what do we expect? Like, would MBA absolute thing after 10 years?
Okay, good. So another tomorrow morning question.
So the real value addition done by MBA, other than what we learn in graduation.
So the same thing, but we'll do it tomorrow morning.
The fear of personal interviews.
Okay, so that we are doing just now. Okay, so we, so we do that. We do that right now. Okay, we're going to do that, little bit of it right now. Excelling life, okay. बहुत बड़ा question है. Dinner के time पे we'll talk. Okay.
I heard about what did you do when you were like at our side
मैं
and
चला गया था, मुझे पता भी नहीं चला था कि इंटरव्यू होने वाला है.
but
The process used to be so different.
but you did something, that is why you got into IIM-A.
Leave it. We'll chat about it over dinner. I was in Bhopal. I was in the thick of my engineering college project. I was surprised to get a call from IIM Ahmedabad, which is the only call I got. Right? I took a train, came to Delhi, went straight to, literally, I don't remember if I changed at the station or where, and I went straight for the interview. How I got selected, I still don't know. So, which is some kind of an answer, but because I'm also going to say कि last 1 month में बहुत सारी आप तैयारी नहीं कर सकते. Okay, I'm going to break off in Hindi and English. कोई ऐसा तो नहीं जो हिंदी नहीं समझता? ठीक है.
So, sometimes when we are sitting in a personal interview, we think something and we try to process it and speak to it. But sometimes it's like we are thinking and we are trying to speak, but we stutter most of the time. So how to get over that and make that process?
Yeah. Okay, anything else? Yeah.
Articulation during the interview.
Okay.
Sometimes we get stuck and we don't remember what to say and things go bad.
Okay. Yeah. Any, there's no, you can take as much time. At least.
Sir, what to do if we are totally blank when they ask us the question? We have no knowledge about the topic they're asking.
Fine, that will come up.
Sometimes we have the knowledge about the topic they ask you about, but we don't know how to put it out in front of them. So we stutter a lot. So how to avoid it?
Okay. Make a comeback, okay.
You are in the middle of an interview
Yeah, I understand.
and you have maybe given 5-6 wrong answers, and even the interviewer has pointed out that you are just maybe giving wrong answers. So your morale goes down instantly. How to still make up for the rest of the interview?
Has that happened with you sometime?
In today's mock only. So it happened that
In real life, mock is very different.
I don't remember in not very recently, but I'm sure it would have happened some time back.
Sir, let's say our interview went real good and everything is very good about our academics and how we answer to the panelists. And then they ask a current affair question which I'm not aware about.
Right.
And I bombed really bad, like 2-3 questions I bombed. So how impactful it would be?
Okay. Okay, so I think a lot of these questions related to interview are going to come up in the next 1 hour that I'm going to talk about, right? There's a lot of content that I have here for you guys. We'll try and sort of go through it as quickly as possible. Stop me if you have any question, feel free, right? If you have anything else, right, please let me know. So I'm going to start by, this one page. Please use your phones. You might want to just scan this QR code. So this is actually my book. My latest book. 6 months ago I finished this. This is on soft skills, and on the back of it I also have a YouTube channel. I can assure you that there's one playlist on first impression. Please usko jarur dekh lijiyega. many questions that you guys are asking me will get answered somewhere there. Okay, so please just, you can just subscribe to the channel and then this abhi koi recent content nahi hai, but the content that is already there is, I think, at least I've got very good feedback about it. Okay, next. So this is something that I very strongly believe, right? So just, people are saying, I very strongly believe that the decision to say yes or no, right? So you walk into the room, that first 1 minute, the interviewer actually makes up their mind, isko lena hai ki nahi lena hai, right? I have done this thousands of times myself. When I realized that I'm doing this, I actually started putting a cross or a tick in the resume in the corner. And then the person where I put a tick, I would give a difficult interview. And the person where I put a cross, I would give a simple interview. And most of the times I have not changed my view. So there's something, some sixth sense that works. Anybody here who has worked and taken interviews in the past? Do you think it works? Have you taken interviews, right? Do you think, just think back at your interviews, do you tend to take a decision in that first 1 minute?
First 10 seconds.
Okay. Right, so fine, I have evidence here. Similar experience, right? So therefore, some of the questions that are coming about, you messed up later, etc., that's important, right? That may cause a rejection later. But that first impression is absolutely critical. Right? This is where I think your maximum effort should happen in the next 1 month. When are the interviews starting? About a month. This is where your maximum effort has to go in. Right? And my last slide is about what you can do in the next 1 month. So if you can focus on these dimensions. Now, what are the dimensions of this? Oops. Okay, so it's about appearance, it's about how you walk, it's about how you greet, it's about how you talk, about your confidence and your mental makeup. 6 dimensions. And each of these things are critical because these 6 things define how the interviewer is going to look at you and the opinion the interviewer is forming about you in that first 20 seconds. Wahan se yahan tak aane mein. Right? And everyone does that all the time. When I walked into the room, I'm sure you all formed an opinion. Right? Kuch log aayenge kahenge, pata nahi kaun aa gaya. Kuch log aayenge kahenge, this guy looks interesting. Yes? Hota hai sir? मेरे बारे में क्या व्यू था? अच्छा नहीं वो फर्स्ट इतना टाइम थोड़ा ना लगता है, यही तो मैं कह रहा हूँ. Okay. So the first is the look factor, right? Okay. I will not say don't wear a jacket. I will not say, although the jacket does not make a difference. But since everyone wears a jacket, please wear a jacket. For women also, please wear a jacket if you're comfortable. But wear something that you are comfortable in. Right? So if you're wearing a jacket for the first time, or if you're planning to borrow a jacket and go for an interview, please don't do that. Because you will be fidgeting in those clothes. Get used to the clothes. Is Sahil here? No. So I met Sahil who came to pick me up and I said the same thing to him. I said, if you haven't worn a jacket in the longest time, then don't do it just for the interview. Be comfortable in your clothes. Be comfortable in who you are. If you are not comfortable, that confidence and everything else is not going to come. Right? If you're wearing a tie, make sure tie is tied properly. These are very basics. आपकी टाई गलत लगी हुई है और ये दूर से दिख जाती है, 1 मिनट में पता लग जाएगी. Anybody who thinks that his tie is proper? Anybody? Stand up. No. You haven't even... Stand up. I'll tell you. Huh? No. No. So come here, I'll tell you. So that everyone knows. Okay. So ये नहीं देखना चाहिए.
What's the solution?
So ये इसके अंदर टकन हो जाता है. Right? Otherwise you have to do something about it. ये जो लटक रही है, not acceptable.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So your tie has to be proper. Your tie. Okay, but not perfect. In fact, I don't think girls should wear ties. I don't know why you're wearing a tie. I don't think so. I personally don't think so. It looks very, very, yeah, maybe that's not the word I had in mind. It looks very overdone. Right? I wouldn't do it. Right? Smart jacket, right? Trouser, scarf if you want. But again, see, the more things you add, the more difficult it will be for you to carry. Keep it simple. Keep it as simple as possible. Tie नहीं पहननी मत पहनो. कोई आपको reject नहीं करेगा tie की वजह से. I'm absolutely sure of that. Yeah, I don't think it will reject you because you are not wearing a tie. No chance. और अगर कोई ऐसा है, तो then it's okay. By and large, nobody will reject you for not wearing a tie. Okay, I'm not saying don't wear a tie. I'm actually saying learn to wear a tie properly. And the reason I'm saying that is because 99% will be wearing a tie. Right? Focus on the color of your clothes. Focus on keeping it simple. Right? Don't wear printed shirts. Right? Make sure your hair are well done. Lots and lots of small things. So there's a video on first look, on the look factor. Please have a look at that. You'll get lots of small tips on that. Okay, and similar things apply for women. With women, it becomes even more difficult. You know, the amount of cosmetics you have used, the accessories that you're wearing, you know, the way you have done your hair, multiple more complications. With boys, it's a little simpler. Right? My wife always tells me, "Kya ek pant shirt pehn liyo chal diye, koi farak nahi padta." You know, literally, if I can walk in like this in a marriage, nobody will say, but women will have to dress up. So yeah, it makes a difference. Okay? The second is walking tall. Just how you walk leaves an impression. Walking from there to there, and invariably the person will see you walk. Right? You have seen, you know, if I'm slouching, if I'm not, you know, how you walk, it makes all the difference. It's communicating. It's communicating a message of how confident you are. Anybody wants to try? Walk from there to here. Come. So, अभी आप क्या देखते हुए अंदर आए? Apart from everything else. Simple things, very, very simple things. Everyone noticed it. Right? Okay, again, some of these things are habits which get formed over the years. So you were walking with your feet a little like that. Right? It's probably a habit. I would change it. The feet have to fall in front of each other. Anybody done ramp walk here? 1 second. You've done a ramp walk. Come, both of you come. Come. They've been trained. I hope they have been trained properly. So with women, the ramp walk is even more complicated. Right? The feet have to come right in front of each other. Correct? Right. But that's not what you would do in going for an interview. What's your name? Bhavna. So don't do that for an interview. Yes, Right? Come, come, come. Whoever comes wants to come first. It's okay. Professional walk, entering a room for an interview. Correct. उधर क्यों देख रहे हो? मेरी तरफ देखो ना. Make eye contact. Making eye contact is also important. Come. Yeah. So all another. Go ahead. So your shoes should make noise. Should not. बहुत कैजुअल है कैजुअल है ना? Sorry, I'm just going to tie my lace. Okay, walking tall. Again, I'm just giving you a little flavor of some of the things that you really need to look at. There is more content about it on the YouTube channel. Please have a look at it. If I spend too much time here, then I will not cover the rest. The handshake. Okay, so the handshake is actually a generic thing for the greeting, right? It could be just going and standing in front of them. Don't go and shake hand unless they offer. Okay, don't offer to handshake. Typically, there will be a panel. They'll all be sitting. Don't shake hand. If they offer, please do. But if they do, then your handshake should be proper. How many of you have ever learned how to do a handshake? Okay. Where? आपने सिखाया, very good. हाथ मिलाइए. देखो सही सिखाया कि नहीं. Good, thank you. Good shake. So it has to be, come on. So it has to be, hang on, the thumbs have to meet here, right? And then you clasp, and then you just do a little shake. अभी एक आदमी मिला था, उसने मेरा पूरा हाथ हिला दिया. मैंने कहा भैया क्या कर रहा है? So please, these are little things, very little things which nobody will tell you. No bone crushing. So you can say that. So my hands are very sweaty. Say that. Acknowledge it. Or give me a chance to wipe them. See, always my first thing is, जितना आप नेचुरल होंगे उतना आपके लिए इजी होगा. जितना आप एक अपने आप को आर्टिफिशियल मोल्ड में घुसाने की कोशिश करेंगे वो नहीं होगा. Be who you are. Let the person select you for who you are. And if they don't want to select you, it's okay. Life में बहुत कुछ है. Life does not end. Doors don't get closed. And your world is completely different from the world it was 40 years ago. Right? All of you come from families who are well off compared to 40 years ago. The things were very different. So इतना nervousness के जहाँ शुरुआत होती है वहाँ nervousness की शुरुआत ही इससे होती है when you're saying that no ये तो होना ही है. The moment you remove that fear from your head, 90% of your nervousness will go away. Okay, so I've called it the pickup line, but this is like what you say as an introduction. How you introduce yourself. Right? If you have to introduce yourself, what will you say?
Sir, I will start with my name. My name is Keshav Gupta. I am from Panchkula, Haryana.
Okay. So this is something that I really want you to all work on. Right? I have on my LinkedIn, and I'll give you the QR code for my LinkedIn also. So last 1 month I've been doing posts on interview tips, and one of the posts is about this. A lot of people will start by saying my name is so and so. Right? The person already knows your name. Why do you have to tell that? Yes? No? But ये कहाँ से आता है मुझे नहीं पता. हर जना शुरू होएगा my name is so and so. Myself so and so. My name is भी नहीं. Myself so and so. And why is the second line important? कि I am from Panchkula, Haryana. No. See, if it's, so pick up the things. If you have got 20 seconds to 30 seconds to say something about yourself, pick up those 3 things that you really want to make a difference. Yeah, give them the message that, sir, I'm very happy to be here. Finish it off with something like this on a positive note. Okay, so focus on this particular, just your introduction. It's extremely critical. And then, why don't you try? I can give you, so I have another post on LinkedIn, it's called, Do You Have a Story? You can go and look it up. Right? I have multiple introductions. So my introduction to you guys will be very different from my introduction to, even if I am being interviewed at this stage in my life, my introduction will be very different to that person. My introduction to someone I meet on the train will be very different. So the introduction keeps changing. Right? So it's very difficult for me to give you an example from an interview perspective. But really, if you want to give the 3 things that you need to pick. Someone asked me the question about how do you steer the conversation in an interview, right? This is your first starting point, how you steer the conversation. Most people will pick up the cue from there. What you say in your introduction. And don't use abbreviations. What's the name of your college? अच्छा पंजाबी अच्छा चलो पूरा नाम बोल रहे हैं वो कोई आएगा बोलेगा I am from LNDT college in wherever. अरे what is LNDT? How do I know what is LNDT? Why is it relevant? Instead of if it was one of the fanciest colleges, if you are from an IIT, you can say I am from IIT Delhi, it makes sense because everyone knows. Otherwise, just say I've done my engineering. Is that college significant? Yes. Then say it. If it's not significant, don't say it. उसमें लिखा हुआ है आपके पूरा डेटा तो उनके पास है ना. Your entire information is there. So only pick up things that are relevant. और इंजीनियर बताना भी क्या जरूरी है. इंजीनियर्स को तो कम मार्क्स मिलते हैं, right? Unless you have done something very fancy in engineering, then talk about it. So think about what you really want to have the next 15 minutes on. The 15 to 20 minute interview will get triggered by what you start saying here. You can walk in and say, okay, just to give you answer to your question, right? You can walk in and say, sir, you can start off by talking about, I want to share with you a very interesting project that I did in my summer. Now what does that do? Takes the conversation to a completely different direction, which is written somewhere in fine print in your resume, which they will never pick up. But you want them to talk about it. It's an icebreaker. It's an icebreaker. It does not mean that you have to go through a checklist. It does not mean that you have to narrate your resume. ये जो स्टैंडर्ड है कि मैंने MBA किया हुआ है या मैंने इंजीनियरिंग करी हुई है और मैं MBA के लिए तैयारी कर रहा हूँ, all that is why they know it. Okay. So if you have, okay, I was on this slide. So if you have figured out the first 4 dimensions, so if you're confident of your body, of your looks, if you're confident of how you're walking in, if you know how you're greeting the person, and if you know how you're talking, that confidence will start coming automatically. And all of these 5 things then actually take you to your attitude. So if you're wondering where these pictures are from, these pictures actually came from, I was Last year I did a whole series of posts on LinkedIn. So these are just, I picked up those pictures. And so you can go in, so there's a lot of very relevant content on my LinkedIn page. How much time you want to spend reading it is up to you. But I can assure you that you will find it useful. Okay, so anything till here, then I'll move to this. Any questions? Anything? How much time do we have? Sorry, I know that.
We have half an hour
Good.
comfortably.
7:15 I was told that. Yeah. Any questions? Anything that anybody wants to ask? Yeah.
Sir, like starting the introduction without name and like where do we belong, like feels like so abruptly starting the.
अपने माइंड को ठीक कर लो. मैं यही तो कह रहा हूं, everyone does it. Be different. Have the courage. And if you can't do it, don't do it. Listen, none of what I'm saying to you guys is a rule. I'm only giving you what I think is right. How you use it is really going to depend on you. Right? I can tell you that a lot of my thoughts will be different from what you go and do ChatGPT, go and do a Google search. My views will be different from a lot of what is written there. But that everyone reads. Very few people get to talk to me. Okay? I can assure you, you will not lose anything by not doing it. और उसके बाद भी उनको पूछना होगा तो पूछ लेंगे. What is the question? Tell me about yourself. Tell me something about yourself. I want to tell something about myself. Right? So there are people who will do this with me and I'll say, no, but can you also tell me about your childhood? Okay, then answer that question. I did schooling from such and such place. Let them ask a specific question. And to be, just don't pick up one point. That's why I said pick up 3 interesting things. Make it a nice story. Make it a nice 20-second story. Don't make it too long. They'll interrupt you. Then you will not be able to finish. And finish with the point that you really want to talk about further. The chances are that is what they will pick up and start asking your next question. Think of it from an interviewer's point of view. It's a conversation. They're not testing you. They're forming an opinion based on the conversation. आपको आता है कि नहीं आता उसके मार्क्स बहुत कम है. It's about how you are handling the situation, how you are handling yourself in those 20 minutes, which is what really matters. Okay? Anything else? Okay. So this is the typical, you want to take a screenshot of it, please go ahead and do that. But this is, all the kinds of questions that you will be asked. It's a fairly exhaustive list. So they'll ask you about your family, they'll ask you leisure, education, experience, questions relating to a job if you have done a job earlier, and then there'll be some tricky questions, there'll be some general topics, right? Again, why are these questions being asked? To form an opinion. That's it. It's more about having a conversation. They also need some topic to talk about. Right? And let me also tell you one thing, that no interviewers, so at one point of time I was also doing a course on how to conduct interviews. Right? Interviewers are also not perfect. And none of them, by and large, no one has gone through a course on how to conduct an interview. आपने कभी किया training program on how to conduct an interview? नहीं किया ना? Anybody attended a course like that? Heard about it? तो इंटरव्यू लेना किसने सिखाया? किसी ने नहीं सिखाया. सब गलत आता है. जो करना चाहिए वो फिर भी नहीं आता. But the fact is that you are actually just forming an opinion. And when there are 1,000 people and you have to select 300 out of 1,000, आप थोड़ी बहुत गलती भी कर दोगे तो कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा. Correct? अब आपके साथ गलती हो जाए तो that's your bad luck. That's all I can say. which can happen. So life is like that. Okay, I think Sony has distributed my book, the first book, to all of you, right? A chapter out of my life. Right? So if you read my chapter, I don't know if anybody has read it. Anybody read it? No. Okay. क्या लिखा है उसमें? अच्छा, चलो. So, okay. So my chapter is called Man Proposes, God Disposes. So we want to do something. We try and say, हमको तो इधर जाना है, but you end up going in a completely different direction. So life is like that, and that will happen. Right? Maybe you guys have seen some of that happening in your life so far. Maybe you have not seen it happening so far. But this is part and parcel of life. Okay, so here I'm just quickly talking about, and I'm not going to elaborate on each one of these points. Please read the screen, right? Because I want to cover a lot of stuff in half an hour. I'm giving you thoughts. If there are questions that come to your mind based on anything that's written here, please feel free to ask. So there are certain tactics that are used by interviews. So one is closed questions, where the answer is a yes or no. Right? So typically just answer in a yes or no. You don't have to elaborate. It is not necessary to elaborate. There are certain interviewers who will tend to talk too much. Let them talk too much. They are happy to hear their own voice. Let them enjoy their voice. आप जितना कम बोलेंगे उतना easy है आपके लिए. Right? So go with the flow. Unless it's a topic which is dear to you and you want to take the conversation in that direction, in which case elaborate. So you're understanding this? So let's say they ask you, do you think quantum physics was a difficult subject? Okay, so say yes and shut up. But if not, say no, sir, I enjoyed quantum physics. I got 99% marks in quantum physics and I've actually done a project in quantum physics. But then you have to have that value, that entire sequence of things, and then hope that they will say, okay, no, please tell me about that project. Then you have to be able to tell them about that project also. See, just think about a conversation. It's a conversation. The triggers will come from you, and you have to create those triggers as far as possible. Open questions. Tell me about, what is your view about Donald Trump as the President of America? No, that cannot be a one-word answer. So it's an open question. Right? But someone asked me this question, right? How do you answer such questions, right? This is important. Just pause. Structure your thoughts. You can start off by saying, look, I'm not following the US politics, but of whatever I have seen, I find Donald Trump to be a great president. You've taken a view. Take a view. They want to see if you're taking a view. And if there are subsequent questions, say, sir, I'm not in a position to answer this because I've not been following. You can do that. And it could be about anyone else. It could be about Modi. It could be about the state of the economic affairs of India. It could be anything. It could be any such topic. So the topic does not matter. But you will have to stick your neck out and elaborate a little bit. You cannot be, unless you don't know anything about the topic. Someone asked me that question, right? Right? So you can say, sir, I do not know about this topic and I don't think I can answer this question. Say that. No, the view does not reflect in a way that it is going to change the decision of are you trying to say that they only take people who like Donald Trump? Or they only take people who don't like Donald Trump? No. But yes, that particular interviewer may form an opinion. But how can you judge that? Don't be neutral. They don't want you to be neutral. You have to take a stand. They're actually seeing, are you able to take an opinion, form an opinion, give an opinion. That's why they're asking this kind of a question.
So there was an instance in my interview today that the ma'am asked, since I was a civil servant aspirant, she wanted to ask me that how is Adani doing in the Dharavi project redevelopment, where there has been a scope of corruption or rather allegations. Also the Mumbai port with the Dharavi linkage or rather Mumbai metro delay. So I was being neutral and trying to say that it is creating employment. And
Why should you say?
insisting that,
Okay, so hang on. So there is something, I just did this post 2 days ago on LinkedIn. It says, how do you respond to leading questions? Right? So if you are clear that the person wants to say that, go with the flow.
but sir, still, see, I thought
So go with the flow. So let us say, I ask you a question. Don't you think, so I have no idea about what Adani is doing in Dharavi. Sorry, so I can't give you an example from there. So let us say, don't you think Sachin is a good batsman? Right? Now I have to have very strong reasons to say no. Right? And I should say no. He was a great batsman, but I don't think he was a great team player or whatever. Right? And therefore I do not rate him very high. So you have given a logical reason for justifying the no. Right? But be prepared, because the moment you say no, they'll ask you 5 more questions on that. But don't you think every time he scored a century, we won, etc. So you need to have your facts. Because and if by chance he's into cricket, which is why he's brought up a question on cricket. So the easiest is just say yes. And stop. The chances are that person will move on to something else. At best, he'll say, okay, why do you say yes? You should have a few reasons to say yes. So you have to play it by the ear. There are no standard answers. When you meet a friend in the evening and you're chatting, do you have an agenda? The conversation flows. That's exactly what is happening in an interview, except that you're also being evaluated a little bit. Okay, hypothetical questions where you are saying, you're saying, okay, suppose this was to happen, then what will happen? So you define that, in my view, if this was to happen, this will happen, but state the fact that this is a hypothetical question and you have limited information, and given this limited information, this is my view. So be candid, be honest. See, the clear message that I am trying to give you is, as candid as you are, ना तो आप nervous होंगे अगर आप candid रहेंगे, ना stress create करेंगे, and don't walk in with the fact that with the thing that नहीं, selection तो होना ही होना है. Leave something on someone. There. Let life decide what's in store for you. How many of you believe that sentence? 4, 5, oh, more hands. Okay, less than half. Chalo. I'll ask you 20 years later if I get a chance. Or you ask yourself this question 20 years later. Okay, multiple questions. So that's another very interesting. Suppose 3 different people ask you 3 questions simultaneously. Or the same person says 1, 2, 3, tell me about this and this and this. So what do you do? Okay, the answer is there, right? What will you do? What will you do? Multiple questions. You're not listening to me, na? नहीं, कहीं और थे, कोई बात नहीं, मेरे को पता लग गया था.
multiple questions, sir. In that case, I'll try to interpret the question. If I'm confused regarding the interviewer asking a question and I'm not clear about it, I'll rephrase it in my words.
Don't rephrase. ये सब rephrasing वगैरह सब गलत है.
I think I'll.
Number one, you cannot, never ever give the impression that you're not clear. Please be super attentive. So there's a video on listening also, by the way, in that YouTube. Sit down. You have to be super attentive. Right? If 3 questions have been asked by 3 people, you should have heard all 3. Right? Train yourself to pick up multiple conversations. 5 friends बैठे होते हैं तो सबकी बातें समझ में आ रही होती है ना, कौन क्या क्या बोल रहा है. It's not rocket science. And this will only happen if you're giving attention to all the three panelists. If you're only looking at one panelist, then it will not happen. You will not be able to do it. Okay? And then my solution is pick up the question that is most convenient for you and start answering that question. No. Why should you? Tell me. किताबों में वैसे ही लिखा है जो आप बोल रहे हैं. किसने कहा? Please help me understand that. Na? Based on what? And suppose the best question doesn't get answered because after the first question the conversation goes somewhere else. What are you trying to manage? What are you trying to manage in that interview? And the only thing that you can manage in that interview. Steer the conversation in a direction that would be convenient or effective for you. Correct? So pick up the question that is most interesting. Right? Answer that. Come to the next. Keep the three questions in your mind. Right? But if you have a long enough answer, the chances are people will forget about the other two questions. But then the second person say, but I also asked the question, sir, give me a chance, yes, sir, I'll answer that. Or answer it.
So for me, it depends on the question. Like, if the questions are very complex, I'll first rephrase that questions and confirm for that. Is it right that is the explanation of the question?
I don't agree with it. At least I don't agree with it because I don't think rephrasing is a good idea. Be very clear what you have understood, stick to what you have understood and answer.
So
right?
rephrasing the questions,
I know, I've understood what you're asking me. I would not rephrase a question.
so what if they have not understood the question properly and we give a wrong answer?
It doesn't matter, they'll say, no, but I asked such and such thing. Let them say. At that point you can say, sir, I probably understood your question incorrectly. Let me restate. If you have made a complete faux pas, which is unlikely if you are listening properly. So speaking से ज़्यादा एक और जो important skill है, again I'm repeating, I said it a minute ago, is listening. Yeah, you have a question. No, never, ever. Just position yourself in a way, if you cannot hear the person, then just train your ears to be able to listen so much sharper. See, in average interview, you will not have this problem. But yeah, if you do really someone you cannot understand, then you can say, but I would not recommend it. See, when I'm saying I will not recommend it, I'm not saying you will never ever do it. So you can always create a scenario where, suppose there's a loud burst somewhere and while the question is being asked, you can say, sir, because of the noise I couldn't hear your question. That's okay. Then they also understand. See, I'm talking of an average scenario, right? So what you are giving me is a very, very specific scenario where an old person is not able to speak loud enough. Yeah. कोई नहीं जाएगा इतनी डिटेल में मेरे ख्याल से कोई नहीं जाएगा so you can just say sir I just answered the first question that came to my mind and I will respond to the other questions. You have to be a little smart and witty, right? They're looking for that smartness. कुछ लोग जानबूझ के multiple question जानबूझ के पूछते. They're also trying to see what you're doing, how you're processing that.
They gave just a very basic statement, and for
First thing is that in an interview you will, if you have a lot of detail, right, then give the detail till they say no, that's enough. Let us say you have a lot of detail. Oh, okay. So that becomes more like a hypothetical question. You say that, look, for this I have assumed this scenario, and based on this assumption, this is my answer. You make that assumption. Instead of asking for clarification, you specify the assumptions that you are making. You want to give an example, specific example? Okay. But I hope that answers your question, right? Yes. State your assumption. If you're making certain assumptions, state them.
Sir, when we say that you are making some assumptions, do I have to explicitly say that, sir, I assume that the question is being asked in this way, that's why I'm saying this also?
No. So you don't say that. So let me give you an example. Nothing comes. So let us say they say that, let us say that there's a fire like Los Angeles near Delhi. What will happen?
There would be first a chaos, and since we do not have a concrete disaster management plan, it is on paper, but our department personnel are not trained for the hazard.
Yeah, so fine. So this is, as long as you clear what you're going to say, so you can pick up the disaster recovery piece that we are, so my opinion. So always say my opinion in this kind of a thing. Because there's nothing, it's a hypothetical thing. It's an opinion. So say, in my opinion, there will be much bigger chaos because we as a country are underprepared. So you bologe to kahenge, acha, why do you think so? But then, so therefore, just be careful of what you are saying. This is a simple question. It's always 50-50. It's always 50-50. इसमें तो कोई assumption है ही नहीं. चलो, anyway, please carry on.
What I got asked yesterday in a mock interview was like, if I have a first child is a girl, what will be the probability of the second child?
Okay, what is the probability? Answer that question. 50. Correct. Yeah. So इसमें क्या assumption है? No, don't. अपने दिमाग के कॉम्प्लिकेशन उसमें मत घुसाओ ना. सिंपल सा क्वेश्चन पूछा, सिंपल सा जवाब दे दो. So if you are asked to prove it mathematically, then it's very simple. Every incidence of a childbirth, the probability is 50-50. If you toss the coin 79 times, the 80th one will also be 50-50 and not be a function of what happened in the 79 events. That's it. So I have a favorite question. Suppose I was to ask, what is the volume of this room? You didn't even hear my question. यही तो सबसे बड़ी problem है. You have to be super attentive. Okay. And what is my question? Okay, give me an answer. How will you answer that question? Anybody wants to try?
The amount of water it can fill.
500 to 600 meter cube. I think around 600.
Okay. 100 So the way to answer this question is, right, this is where you'll say, sir, based on my observation, this side is about 10 meters, and this side is about 15 meters, and this height is about 3 meters, and therefore my answer is 450 meters. So instead of just saying 600, I would qualify it and show that how I've arrived at that answer. So this is what I'm saying, the assumptions. Right? Now, if you say that this side is 3 meters, they may say, oh, do you really think that's 3 meters? How much is 1 meter? So they will get into that. So you still have an opportunity to say, no, sir, I think I made a mistake. I think it's more than 3 meters. So they may say, okay, so what is your best judge? Clear? Somebody recently told me, they'll say, how many tennis balls can you fill in this room? No. It doesn't work like that. Because when it's a ball, there are a lot of blank spaces.
So we can start by saying that I think an average tennis ball's diameter is so and so.
Yeah.
And this, approximately, I think the volume, side of this ball is these many feet.
Correct.
And this by this,
So you can say that, this is 10 meters and the average is about 10 centimeters. So it will take 100 balls like this, take 150 balls like this, right? And it'll take about 30 balls like this. So therefore the answer will be this into this into this. Yeah. But the answer that I've still not been able to find for myself is, if I stagger the balls, will it take more number of balls? Hai koi engineer? You have understood what I'm saying? If I stagger the balls. So when I've said this, yes. So when you put the ball in the center of the 4 balls and stagger them. So that question has been in my mind, but I have not figured out an answer. But even if you don't get to that level, if you just figure out and say, so many balls this way, so many balls this way, so many balls this way, and therefore so many, that's the way. Be specific, elaborate how you are calculating. Let them see. So another favorite question of mine, funny, tricky question is, what is the opposite of red? Okay, good. So these are abstract questions, and a lot of people will say, but there is no opposite of red, which may not be the right answer. Yeah. So there are many answers. I do courses on creativity, and this question comes from there actually. So it can have many answers, and every answer is the right answer. Okay, so unexpected or difficult question. I think you need to look at this. Don't be evasive. Take time to think, right? And admit that you do not know. It's very important to be, rather than getting into. Yeah, so tell. Why are you saying it's green? Tell me. Fine. So don't take his answer. What is the opposite of red? You tell me. You tell me what is the opposite of red.
Any color which is not red.
Okay, fine. If I have to ask you to pick one color, what will you pick?
Maybe yellow.
Okay, why?
It is not red.
It's okay.
Sir, was my answer...
There's no right answer in this. Sorry.
Was my answer up to the mark?
No, see, it's the way you're answering the question. Right? The way you answer the question is like you're trying to tell the interviewer, no, you're wrong. That's how it's coming through. Right? ज़्यादा expectation नहीं, मैंने सही बोला है, नहीं बोला है, बोल दिया ना, आगे चलो. So this kind of a thing, was my answer right? Please don't ever do it in an interview. Make a comment. It may be the most stupid question. Don't tell them, sir, but this is a stupid question. Give an answer to the best possible capability. Or say, I don't have an answer to this. Simple. So if there is a question like, what is the opposite of red? You said, sir, I've never thought about it. What do you think will be the next question?
Think about it and tell us.
I'll say, take a minute and tell me. And there are many answers. So, how are you actually looking at a opposite of red? Aapne beer stock market le liya. Traffic lights, red and green, right? Rainbow, red and violet. Life, red and white. Heat, red and blue. All of them are acceptable answers. So there will be questions where you'll see kaisa sawal hai. So don't get stumped. That's what I'm trying to explain. Okay. This is very interesting. It doesn't really happen, but does happen sometimes. You've given a long answer, and they'll keep looking at you. Why? They'll keep looking at you. To unsettle you, yes. So what do? Correct. And then you start fumbling. Okay, so just pause. It's okay. It's his turn to speak. Ball is in his court. What will happen? If you can maintain your silence, the person will be forced to say something. Na? Say, okay, please tell us more, or move to the next question, or whatever. Don't get into that trap. It's a trap. Smart interviewers do that. Have you seen it? No? It's actually smart interviewers will do that trap. You finish and they'll just look at you like that. आपके पास अब कुछ और बोलने को नहीं है. Now what you will say is rubbish. Correct? Or you'll start elaborating what you said. Or you'll start forming opinion कि शायद मैंने गलत बोल दिया. Don't do any of it. You have said what you had to say. Give it, count up to 50. But keep looking for body cues. Keep looking for any signal. Right? They may not say it in words, but they may signal ki, okay, I'm looking for more. So if you don't have more, say, I don't know, I don't have anything more to share. Or expand the topic to include something else and talk about that. Okay. So this is just a simple list that I think, again, you might want to take a quick look at. These are some of the desirable behaviors that are expected during an interview. Okay, how you sit is very important. ये style सब गलत है, हाँ? क्या? गलत समय पे पकड़ में आ जाते हो. So maintain your posture. Body language is extremely important, right? How do you sit? I actually have a video again on the YouTube channel showing the postures that work and don't work, right? So if you have a table, lean forward slightly, right? Women should specifically tuck in their feet a little bit. Ideally cross them. Okay? Men need to keep their feet straight. Sit erect. And for no reason at all, be backwards. You don't have to use the back of the chair. Go sit very professionally. I don't have a proper chair here. Oops. So if this was the chair, right? And it's okay. And you can stand up for a second if you want. So with this kind of a chair, which is the type of chair that you are most likely to get, आजकल हर जगह ये swivel chairs with wheels होती है. So people in the front can stay sitting. So, correct? So just sit straight. You don't have to go up there, right? Stay there. That's it. No, why? If there is a table in front of you, right, you can use put your hands, bend forward and put your hands there. If not, put them on your lap. वो आर्मरेस्ट पे रख के क्या करोगे? ये करोगे ना? कैसे करोगे? आओ तब. आर्मरेस्ट पे करके सीधा पोस्चर कैसे करोगे? Show quick. हाँ? आर्मरेस्ट पे रख के स्ट्रेट पोस्चर रह ही नहीं सकता. Don't cross your hands. आगे करो हाथ आगे. Don't cross your hands. Don't clasp them. Just keep them on your lap ना. Simple, बस. Just very simple. How will you sit? Go. And this is gonna be tricky for you because you're a short person. And this is the other problem that some of you will face. And the chair is high, and I don't recommend adjusting the chair because you'll figure it out. Right? No, just that is fine, yeah. Because, see, in her case, the chair is high, so she can't do anything else but this. Any tall girl here? Any slightly taller girl? Come, see how you'll sit. Okay, sit here. How will you sit on this chair? Come. How will you sit on this chair? And you also come. Yeah. So in this, what happens is you need to take slightly take your leg back. Yeah. So no, not. So it's this leg goes a little that way, and this leg stays straight. Straight. Yeah, there. Just a little angular. You know what I'm saying, right? Doesn't matter. Even otherwise, even with trousers, this is a good posture to have. You're right. You're absolutely right. But it's a good posture to have anyway.
Skirts or heels definitely this way, but if pants and flats, then.
So you can do that, but this is, I think, always a better posture. Try it on that. With that kind of a chair, it will be very difficult. For a tall person, it will be okay. Yeah, there. So there is a video where, one of the girls who's with me in that video has actually demonstrated this. Please have a look. Sorry? Men. I just said, no, keep them straight. तो जाओ ना लंबे बैठो देखो इस पे बैठ जाओ छोटी वाली चेयर पे लंबे जाओ बैठो ना इस पे आके देखूं क्या करोगे Come. I know, so that's why you have to be very, घर पे रख लो एक practice कर लेना. You have to. These are things, simple things that you will have to practice. See, बैठे हो सीधे क्या दिक्कत है? Conscious क्यों हो रहे हो? So jackets, actually, the right way to wear a jacket is that when you are sitting, the jacket should be open. And when you're standing, it should be buttoned up. Yeah. Actually, one button. If it's 2 buttons, 1 button. If it's 3 buttons, 2 buttons. So walking in with your buttons open is also a bad idea. But इतनी अकल बहुत सारे लोगों को नहीं है. वो इतना minutely नहीं देखते. But when you're walking in, right? So come in. एक मिनट. So walk up to that chair from here. और ये हिलते डुलते मत walk करो. क्या एक मिनट सुन तो लो. जल्दी क्या है? बार-बार से ऐसा क्यों? Do you know what you're doing? Okay, come here. ये वीडियो देखना. हाँ क्या कर रहा हो बताओ?
I would just walk up to the chair like I would walk in an interview.
इतना gesture क्यों? इतने नर्वस क्यों हो रहे हो?
Okay, sir.
Relax.
Yes, sir.
Relax.
Relax, but
अभी तो मैं इंटरव्यू भी नहीं ले रहा.
I am relaxed, but I don't know how to like.
So try.
Yes.
Go. And after you sit down, unbutton your jacket. Yeah. इतना आगे झुक के क्यों चल रहे हो? सीधे चलो ना इधर आओ. Straight. Stand straight. Your shoulders back. हाँ. ऐसे थोड़ा smartly चलो ये थोड़ा मतलब. Okay. Guys, okay, sit. I can't do this here right now, but no. What did I say? After you sit down, and then you unbutton. इतने consciously नहीं बटन खोलने के लिए देखना नहीं पड़ता बटन को. It has to happen very subconsciously. चलो, come back. Yeah, so you stand up. It doesn't have to happen in that 5 seconds, but when you stand up, right, you just without, see, it does not have to be a very conscious activity. It's a subconscious activity. So girls typically, it should stay buttoned. Correct? Yeah.
Also, when we have 2 buttons in this one, should we close the upper button or the lower?
Upper. So मैं demonstrate नहीं कर सकता. What I'm gonna tell you, go back. So again, if you go and look at the series of videos, there's a whole series of videos on body language. There is a video on body language. Please, for all of you, right, the only way to figure this out is everyone has a video camera now. You know, our times were very different. You know, put a camera, see how you walk. You'll yourself know the mistakes you're making. Just put your camera and walk, or sit with 3 friends and say, क्या गलती कर रहा हूँ बताओ. मेरी walk देख के आपको कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा, क्योंकि there is no one right way. The more important thing is, are you walking at least in a reasonable way? Okay, and one second, let me finish. And there is no shortcut to what I've just told you. If you really want to do something about it, you will have to watch your own walk. Why? To change your habit. I'm not saying walk fast or slow. It's not about slow or fast. That slow should not look awkward. Now, I can't tell you whether that slow is awkward or not awkward. But a brisk walk is always better than a slow walk. That's what I can say. Because think of it, those people, they are waiting to start asking you questions when you settle down. If you're going to take 20 seconds to settle down, that does not work in your favor. Right? Please record yourself, each one of you. I highly recommend that. Right? The other thing that I recommend, actually, that brings me to the next slide. But yeah, carry on. Someone had a, yeah.
So the way you move your hand while you're speaking, is it desirable that we do the same or?
So body language is a completely different subject. If your hands are working naturally, it's great. They complement what you are saying. But to get to that is a problem, right? So that girl is putting a pen in her mouth. Right? These are the kind of problems that you get into. And you may do that in front of an interviewer also. Sorry, मेरी आंखें बहुत सारी जगह जाती हैं. ये जो आप कर रहे हैं इससे कुछ नहीं होने वाला. This is a meaningless action. No. What did he do? He was doing this. So wait, so your mind is saying, nahi, मेरे पास एक और idea. It doesn't mean anything to me. So that's a meaningless action. So meaningless actions are not desirable. So what I tell people is, especially if you're going to be standing in a stage and speaking, don't move. Keep it simple. Right? And if you're standing and speaking here, and if you're nervous, the best way is to have your hands here. Stand with feet balanced. Otherwise you'll keep doing this, dancing. एक पैर थक जाएगा फिर वैसा लोगे. ये थक जाएगा फिर वैसा लोगे. So there are, it's just, you know, I'm only covering the surface of this whole topic. There's a lot. So actions, if you want to do, they have to be meaningful to make a point.
I have a question about facial hair. Like my father would generally say, because he's from the army, that you should always have a clean.
I would also say that. I'm not from the army, but I will also say that, right? That if you can avoid it, it's good, right? Because you are going to meet a lot of people who are not young. In the younger generation, keeping a beard is now fashionable because of some of our role models. Right? For the next 1 month, if you're happy to remove it, but I leave it up to you. It's really, really up to you.
It's not about the beard, like I know it's a silly point, but I think...
No, it's not a silly point, but I'm saying...
Not your point, like the point I'm about to make.
Okay.
Is that I think a beard also faces, I mean, it's a face saver for people who put on a lot of weight on the face or something.
I don't think so. I think that's just a justification. Mustache is okay. Mustache is fine, but it should be well trimmed. And on the topic of hair, women, please be very careful. You know, especially with you know, like you have got hair in the front. Avoid it, right? For the interview, tie it at the back. Unless you think, no, that just does not go with my style. So if you are not going to be confident if you tie it, then don't do it. But otherwise, in your case as well, you have hair in the front, right? I would avoid it. But try it without it. You'll probably, if you're happy, that will give you your case as well, right? So the moment the hair exceed shoulder length, right? I don't know what's your view on this and what's the latest view on this. The way I say is the moment hair exceed this shoulder length or 1 inch more than this, then they should be tied.
They should be tied always. If you want to keep them open, they should be styled. You have to go to a parlor, style it, and then get it if it comes. Otherwise,
No, but styling is more for a social event and not for an interview.
style as in not a blowout, but like they should be settled. There should be no
Okay.
place, not distracting the room.
So the problem is when you have hair in the front, right, there's a natural tendency of fiddling with the hair. And that's the bigger reason why I'm saying that. Okay, but again, these are not prescriptions. It's a choice. Okay, anything else? This is the desirable behavior. There's something else which I've said, do's and don'ts. Again, you might want to take a quick picture. I'm not going to run through this list. But yeah, don't be a creep. I hope you all understand what is a creep. Don't try and suck up to the interviewer. You don't have to, right? Don't be over respectful and polite. Be yourself, right? Don't be over familiar. Don't drop names. Don't criticize. Don't be boring. Don't interrupt. Don't argue. Don't boast. So you have to sell yourself, but there's a huge difference between selling and boasting. Okay? So these are some tips to excel, right? So handling nervousness, I think if you just go feeling yourself without that anxiousness of doing well, your nervousness will settle down 99% of the time. It's the anxiousness to do well which always creates a challenge. Okay? Try it out. Anybody? Your introduction, talking about strengths, questions on weaknesses. Now there is there's a whole series of posts on nearly all these questions that I've done in the last 3, 4, 5 weeks. So if you go to my LinkedIn page, you'll find something on all of them. Right? And feel free to write back if you have any questions. I think thinking about why MBA is extremely important, and we'll talk more about it tomorrow. I think the question on long-term plans is definitely going to come up. Again, I've covered somewhere there. So what you say in your long-term plans has to be well thought through. Right? Again, when you're filling out, a lot of this will happen even when you're filling out the form. Because what you say in the form now is what they will look at during the interview. So if you say gardening is a hobby, they may pick up gardening and say, okay, what kind of gardening do you do? So please think about it, what you're writing in your forms. Don't ask. In this kind of an interview, I would say, just say, sir, I don't have a question right now. Again, this is very different from what most people will tell you. Right? And the reason I'm saying that, what's your view? I don't know.
So I generally advise that you should do a full research on the program that you're going for. Pick up one point, say suppose it's summer internship. How much of a support does the college give to summer internship?
So I would not, right? The reason I would not, and again, we have contradictory views. You can form your own opinion. Because by that time, the person has already taken a decision. Number one. Number two, you're not going to add anything. A lot of these interviewers who will come for MBA interviews are people who do not work in that college. They've just been invited to take interviews. And they may not even have the answer to the question that you will ask. Right? Number three, by that time they are done with you. They are not really interested. So you're only extending the time for no reason at all.
And sir, what if they ask, do you have any questions for us?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Whatever I'm saying just now.
I'm sorry.
Where are you? They do it. Just It's like a politeness. How do you do? Why does everyone say how do you do? How's the weather? वो वेदर वाला वो इंग्लैंड में रेलेवेंट था जहाँ हर 2 घंटे के बाद वेदर चेंज हो जाता है. इंडिया में रेलेवेंट नहीं है, फिर भी हम पूछते हैं हाउ इज द वेदर. वन सेकेंड. No. So therefore, first thing, I think don't do a blunt no, right? So you say, sir, at this point of time, I do not have any question, right? If they then push you to say, okay, how come you don't have any questions? So you say, sir, I've already know about your institute. I've spoken to a few seniors from your institute, and some of the questions I had have already been answered, and there is nothing right now. Qualify it. But the chances that someone will do that are very rare, very, very rare. I'll be surprised. Don't. Don't. You want to bring up the entire area of something you don't know again and remind them? Why? I have 5 more minutes. Oh.
We'll wind up the questions at least. You can continue with your PPT. That works for you, right?
Just I have another 5 minutes. What's the time?
It's 7:22.
Okay, I'll actually wind up in 5 minutes. Just give me 5 minutes. Okay. Okay, so some more tips. Humor. Try to be humorous, but don't try and be very humorous. Humor is not always understood. Attitude, keep the right attitude, etc. Just volunteering and seeking information is avoidable. We have already covered most of these points. So how do you prepare? I'm going to leave this slide with you. Can we come back to this slide tomorrow morning when I'm in the class? I think this is what you can specifically do given the 1 month now. Right? And for tomorrow morning session, it'll be nice if you can think about some of these things and come with as many questions as possible, because I don't have a structured presentation for tomorrow. Right? I'm only really going to depend on or focus on answering the questions that all of you have. Right? Does that work for everyone? Yes. Okay. So, but really just to run through this, focused on first impression, I already told you it's very important, right? The simplest way to do that, and that's the only, unless you want to find some other way, is to watch this series of 6 videos. There's on first impression. I think you'll get a lot of relevant information. Practice your introduction. Practice in the video. Practice a 30-second video in a video. Okay, or with a friend. Practice speaking. A lot of you speak fast, speak slow, speak softly, right? Speaking itself is an art. Right? There's a whole series of videos on speaking. Do some practice. See how you speak. Practice conversation skills. Right? These conversation skills become important not only in a group discussion but also in the interview. They're equally important. Right? Review all the information that you have provided in your form. Right? And more importantly, if you haven't filled the form, don't write things that you're not happy to talk about. Okay? Read about current affairs, so start reading about current affairs, right? At least, and finally, do not stress. Okay, and like I said, we'll talk about these things tomorrow. That's my LinkedIn, if you want to. If you have a question, just remind me that you met me here. If you're connected, you can send me a message on the LinkedIn Messenger. I'll happily answer. Sure. But the thing is, most of the forms are already talking about a weakness. So you've already defined your weakness. But yeah, we'll take it up. Doesn't matter. Just you need to mellow down your weaknesses, whatever they are. We'll talk about it in the morning. Any last question? Anybody?
If I have a academic background, then can I score around in line 8?
We'll take it offline. I'm here. I'll take it offline with you after this. I'm here till dinner. I don't know. I think you'll see me around. Okay? Because this will be a longer question I can make out. Anything else? Okay. See you later.
Thank you so much, sir, for your invaluable insights. We are highly grateful to you, sir.